Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to this IFoEC Focus series, episode 6, I believe. Today we're here with Dooms. We're both resident in Belgium, so local connection today. Um, Dooms, welcome to the IFoEC Focus series. Who are you, and what is your role in esports?
Thanks. As you said, I'm from Belgium too. I can call me Arnaud too if you want. So I'm a 22 years old student in physical therapy, and I'm mostly active as a coach in the mobile gaming, which might be not well known, but yeah, I'm a coach. I've been plenty of other stuff too, but right now I'm coach for Game Lord in Wild Rift. How can we say that? The small brother of League of Legends, basically.
Small and growing up fast. Um,
Yeah,
and you're a head coach for what team?
for Game Lord.
Okay, and could you maybe describe sort of where they compete? Like, what's their level of competition? Would you say?
Yeah, sure. GameLord is also a Belgian org, mostly the only Belgian mobile org I know at least. And we've been in top of the European rankings. Right now, in the last LAN, we've been third. So we've been performing good. We wanted better, but yeah, third is an honorable spot and aiming for better next year.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Congratulations. And that was recently, right? That was last week, I think, from this recording.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Cool. Fascinating. So I think for me, obviously I know about mobile gaming, but I've never had the chance to really explore it with a coach in that area. So really looking forward to this one. First question, how did you get into your current role?
It's been quite special. To start with just mobile gaming in say, I've started by discovering Vainglory. It's an older game, basically a bit like League of Legends 2. It's died yet, like a couple years ago. But yeah, I discovered it while being bored of studying for exams. So I just downloaded it on my smartphone and started playing. And then after that, I started growing competitive. And I didn't have the time to play enough. So I figured why not do studies and have enough time for coaching, which
Mhm.
works too. I've been doing other stuff, as I said, like organizing tournaments, management, and such. But yeah, coaching is where I always ended up going, and that's how I ended up. And here, so it was in other games, and now in Wild Rift specifically, since Wild Rift is only 1 year old. Um, so I came from another game named Brawl Stars, and the team I'm currently with, I've been the whole year with them. Someone else who noticed me in Brawl Stars got me into them, like got me out of Brawl Stars just to coach Wild Rift. I didn't know much about League of Legends to start with, but I learned a lot beside them and brought them what I could offer at least. And now we're growing up all together.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, learning as we're going along. That's interesting. You made the move from a background in Brawl Stars and sort of game knowledge there, and you could still find success in a sort of a relatively different game. So that's really interesting. What was the moment you decided sort of coaching was where you wanted to be? So I guess you could have gone the team manager route, uh, yeah, tournament organizer. So what was a moment that said to you coaching was where you wanted to go?
I'll be pretty honest, I'm asking myself that same question every year, basically. Like every year, I'm trying something out, seeing an opportunity, and then I always end up back to coaching. And maybe that's what I can answer best. It's just I need the player contact. Like I really need to have daily work habits. I don't like rushing something for 2 weeks and then stopping for 2 months. I really need my doses of esports addict kind of every day. And the other big thing that really gets me back to coaching is when I have the highest impact I can have on people.
Mhm.
So I don't like being just someone who is in touch with esports. I prefer aiming for a couple amount of people and really impact them the most I can.
Mhm. You're a people person, so
Exactly.
enjoying the relationships and the competitive side. That's, yeah, really cool to hear. Um, so what does a typical day in your role look like?
There's no typical days, to be honest. Let's say that right now with university stuff and such, it's pretty tough, but I'm gonna take a summer day as a typical day, let's say.
Mhm.
Usually I'm the only one who wakes up early in my team, so I end up being solo while my players wake up very late. But usually, yeah, I start reviewing games from other regions, mostly like Asia, Americas, and such. I also built a draft simulator since it doesn't really exist for Wild Rift, so I built one myself in spreadsheets and spent hours in there
Wow.
theory crafting stuff. Yeah, I really spent hours like that. I'll also study for university, see friends, of course, and such, do sports as a kind of performance coach for them too. I need to be kind of an example too. And yeah, for the rest, when scrims start at like 3, 4, 5 p.m., depending on the days, I get with the boys in VC. They start playing. I'm in spectator mode and basically do whatever coach does. So yeah, watching them, micro drafts, giving feedback on the game and such. And at night, basically we have one last scrim at night. We usually talk as a team together to have some team spirit and yeah, just hang out a bit, which is really, really important, especially in mobile esports where people are younger. So the human management team part is really, really important. And then yeah, we just hang out and get back to another day after.
Super interesting. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot in there. What you've just said. Do you find, so in addition to sort of reviewing other games and sort of I guess getting an idea for like new in-game strategy, new ways of playing, do you find that there's the possibility to learn from other coaches, or is there a sort of a coaching knowledge exchange that happens?
It's quite tough since the game's pretty young. There's no really, how can I say, established coach who can guaranteed have spots anywhere else and share knowledge. Anyone's trying to establish themselves as the best coach of their region or the world. And so everyone has to fight for this spot too. So no one's really sharing a lot. Now, what I've been doing a bit is 1v1 draft battles against other coaches on my simulator. I basically just screen share my simulator and we do draft battles against each other.
Right.
Or when we hang out with coaches who don't coach the same level, like the same team tiers, let's say. If our teams aren't really big enemies of each other, then we can exchange a couple stuff. But yeah, there's not much exchange yet, at least. It's mostly doing whatever you can to get good.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I love that. And I suppose it probably takes a lot of hours outside of the contact with the players, watching games and keeping notes and planning your own sort of interaction with your team. Just out of interest, do you use much of your physical therapy training? Does any of that sort of come into your work?
I've tried. My players aren't the most receptive, let's say, but yeah, some are really receptive and ended up doing so. Especially, this may be more inside stuff, but especially since we underperformed, at least in our vision at the LAN, some players have noticed that, okay, we've got the skill, we've got the team spirit, what's lacking? Well, it was those hours of sleep, those hours of exercise, whatever, just to be at 100% or even 110%. And so some are starting, I've seen sleep schedules already in 2 weeks who went from waking up at 2 p.m. and now they wake up at 8 a.m. or even sooner. So it's really, really good, a good first step.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, we've been doing some programs about nutrition, drinking enough, eating well, and such. But yeah, it's gonna come slowly, and when the orgs help with it, it's gonna end up being better.
Cool. So you're really, a holistic coach, a little bit of everything, and clearly very successful. If you've gone from 2 p.m. to 8 a.m. wake up, that's significant. Next question would be, what have been the main influences on the way you coach and sort of how you've learnt to be a coach?
I'll be pretty honest. How can I say that? Like, I like to be self-learning. I don't really look at, I look at other coaches, but I'm going to look at really one specific area and say, okay, this is a good thing, let's keep it. But I'm also going to be very criticizing other stuff because that's how I want to be. Like, I don't aim for 99%. I really aim for the best. That's what drives me. And maybe my biggest influence are my players, because I'm basically every month, some might take this as a mental breakdown, but I'm gonna be really just depressive and say, okay, I'm doing bullshit. Tell me what do I have to do, because I feel like I'm not doing well. How can I help you guys better? Some will say, okay, it's good. Some will say, okay, you can end up doing this bit better and such. And yeah, it's how I work usually. Always questioning myself to do more, and yeah, and the learning curve also comes from them. Like in the end, a coach may have the bigger picture view. That's how I see it. But the knowledge isn't in my head or any coach head. It's the players. They play the game. They know what they can do better and such. So what all we have to do is get those five brains together. Basically, that's how I see it.
Yeah, I think that's a message that comes across with a lot of the coaches we speak to. It's almost, not having to have the highest level of in-game knowledge, but being the best at bringing all that together and fitting it together to make the team click. So yeah, that's really interesting to hear. I know you're very you have high expectations of yourself. You're very demanding on yourself, but what would you say? And you mentioned the sort of the relationships with players are very important to you. What would you say is the bit you enjoy most about your role as a coach?
I think maybe kind of egoistically, it's first time, the only time I experienced it in LAN. It's being just alongside the players and see not a spotlight, but see, okay, the coach is represented alongside the players, and the camera comes along and looks at this too. Besides the fact that friends are there, like, oh, we see you finally, you're crazy. But yeah, the rest was really like being recognized, and when a player also after the LAN, some players started questioning themselves, and I did too. And this is maybe the best part of coaching is some really came to me and just say, you couldn't have done anything better. And it's kind of relief, kind of not, because we want to do better, of course, but it's kind of relief of, okay, this player who played for 10 years already in MOBA, is competitive in 10 years, has played for G2 esports and whatever, and he's coming to tell you, okay, I've never had a coach who has been as useful as you. That's a blessing. It's so good. You feel good for the next month.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, it gives you the energy to sort of carry on and keep. I guess it makes it meaningful, right? It makes the role, meaningful. I did notice recently on Twitter, I think immediately after the LAN event, I saw your name popping up a few times. So I think there was some recognition in the community that you're doing a great job. So I look forward to seeing where that takes you. And there's actually a question on that coming up. Would you say that was one of your proudest moments in your role? Or if not, could you let us know what that might be?
I think it is, yeah. Like I like going back also to the previous games I've coached and such, but I really want to pay attention to Wild Rift because I'm focused on now. I don't like focusing back on the past. So I'd say on short terms, yeah, it's definitely my proudest moment. It's just debriefing with the team, seeing we were a team that was able to boom mentally quite a lot in the beginning, and really we've been able now to just get together and okay, we're going to be angry, we're going to have feelings, but just accepting those emotions and saying, okay, that's what we have to improve on. That went wrong, maybe you did better, you did not, but we know what's happening, we know what we have to work on, and congratulating each other on what we did good was a huge step for all of us. That's the proudest moments for sure.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. I also have a colleague who's very keen on acceptance commitment therapy. So this idea that, we can have a whole range of emotions. They don't necessarily need to sort of guide our behavior and how we proceed in a competitive space. So it sounds like you're doing all the right things. We've flown through this sort of like interview script that I had written out. What would be your dream future in esports?
That's a tough question. I see two paths mostly. Like there's one I've aimed for I don't know, the 5 last years. It's ending up as esports physical therapist. Would be amazing. Like there aren't a lot yet, 2 or 3 in the US, maybe 1 in Australia, but that's about it. I'd like to be, I don't know if I'm the first one, but I guess one of the first ones in Europe for sure, even though it's tough, but I'd like to. With Wild Rift right now, I'm also seeing maybe a future as a coach itself. We'll see. It's less certainty. I'm kind of old school, but I like having a job, going for the family and such, which needs some certainty of the job. But yeah, it's the second path I may may look for if it continues going well. But studies before everything, and we'll see after.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can imagine with your dedication, a number of doors will open themselves to you.
Thanks.
Let's say we fast forward and you've continued on this trajectory, and the game and yourself, you've grown, and it's we're looking back now. Is there any advice you'd give to someone who wants to be a coach in mobile gaming?
In mobile gaming, I'd say you need, if someone, like lots of coaches are transitioning from PC or have the PC background and say, okay, I'm going to be mobile because I don't have a PC or whatever, you should pay attention way more to the human relationship, as I've insisted a lot in mobile. Why? Because first of all, people look down on it, to it. I don't know how you say it in English. They don't really appreciate mobile gaming a lot, let's say. It doesn't get a lot of spotlights, so your players will tend to be also maybe less professional than PC players standards and such. Organizations are younger, have less experience. So yeah, the more maturity you can show and share with your team, the better. Especially, I mean, it depends on the esports for sure. Like Wild Rift's average age, I think, for players is like 22 something in esports. It's okay. Where I was in Brawl Stars, for example, it was, I guess, 17, and some players were even younger, even under Supercell's terms of service age and such, 13, 14, 15. So it's way tougher to handle, and you got to pay attention to that way more. Now, in general, just for mobile gaming or coaches in say, I'd say, just work as hard as you can, because the players will always notice it. That's the second thing. I've maybe entered a bit as a noob in my team. Like I really, as I said, didn't know anything about Radlift and say I just ranked to Diamond, I think, or Emerald solo. That's it. We're not really that high compared to them. But yeah, I've just listened to them a lot. I've told them, okay, just being straight honest, give me 1 month and I'll show you I'm good. They said, okay, why not? Like they just didn't trust it, but say, yeah, we don't care. You don't take money from us from 1 month, so what do we have to lose? And it ended up going well. So yeah, just give trust, give everything you got, and as long as your players trust you, you're going to be good to go.
Fantastic. What a message. I mean, that's a nice message for, I think, for everyone. Yeah, trust and give what you've got. Yeah, excellent. Okay, Arnaud, Coach Dooms, it's been great to interview you for this IFoEC Focus episode. Where can people find you and follow your progress going forward? Twitter?
Yeah, mostly on Twitter. Like if I'm open for Discord DMs anytime, of course, for help. I'm receiving plenty of those whenever, and I answer whenever I can. But yeah, Twitter mostly for sure.
Excellent. All right, and we'll do our best to follow you and promote your career through IFoEC as well. So, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks again for your time.
Thank you for having me.